Cool. Well, I'll start with a little introduction like usual. If there's might be a
Okay.
couple people, more people
Yeah.
joining. So for anybody new here, I'll give a little background on Pandion Music Foundation. I'm the executive director for Pandion. Been working for the organization since our start in 2022. And we're a nonprofit that provides community and skill building opportunities for music creators in Los Angeles and beyond to cultivate long lasting lives in music through free online and in-person opportunities. We foster a community where creators from diverse backgrounds and identities have the support, tools, and resilience they need to keep making music in an ever-evolving industry. Um, we've honed in on community this year, really wanting to focus more on engagement among our community members. So these workshops that we're running now, we run them weekly, and we have just introduced some different themes, along with themes like what Dave is going to share today, which is a music industry insight theme. We also have community conversations. We have workshops that are being led by college students now for discussion around more artist identity themes and potentially like anything that they're working on in their school programs. And then we also have community listening sessions, which we've been running for a while, which allows the opportunity for people to submit songs to us. And we listen and give feedback during the session. And then we add them to a disco playlist at the end, which is public on our disco account. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit of an overview of us and what we do. We also have in-person events in LA. If you're based in LA, we're running a new teen initiative this year that's going to be 3 month long teen program based in LA, songwriting, performance, and production. So that's exciting. Keep an eye out for that. More information coming soon. And Dave is here today. Very excited to have him here, leading a workshop that he has, I think, actually led at NAMM this year. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, really excited to talk about self-doubt and doubt riding shotgun. I love that title.
Cool.
So we'll get into that soon. Dave is a singer-songwriter, executive coach, and former marketing executive who helped shape the global growth of music tech brands like Ableton and Isotope, which I know many of you will be familiar with. Um, with 40 plus years of experience as a drummer, vocalist, and songwriter, he blends creative practice with heart-centered coaching to help others find their voice and create work that matters. Dave lives near Seattle with his wife, 2 sons, and their barky dog, Lola, if anyone else is in the Pacific Northwest. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk about, and I think that your whole mission really aligns with Pandion's mission because we're really wanting to, help musicians connect more to their identity and their music and feel good about what they're doing in the music scene because there is so much like external distraction and things going on that can kind of
Sure.
derail you as a musician and get you, that self-doubt can come out very easily. So, yeah, I'm really excited to get into this today. Do you want to maybe start off,
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about yourself or
Yeah.
what we can get into?
Yeah. Absolutely. I'll do a little bit of talking, and then I'm gonna try and engage folks. And I think we have a small enough group here that I think people can unmute and talk
Yeah.
when I open it up, because I think the power of these workshops. This is really not me. This is not a speech. This is a workshop where we can do some work together and hear our own self doubt stories next to other people in the room self doubt stories, and we start to go, oh, I'm not alone, and I'm not crazy. And I have this thing going on here too, and I can learn from others. So that's why I've started to do more group work. I've been coaching one-on-one clients for like 10 years now, and it's great, but it's just not fast enough. So I wrote the book, and I did an audiobook, and I'm really trying to get this message out there. So I did the NAM workshop, and I've been speaking with like songwriting groups at retreats and different places like that. So I'm open to networking and hearing, from you all about your own stories in this. So I'm going to present. I have some slides, and to just kind of add a little bit of more context here. So can everybody see that okay? Oh, I'm
Yeah, that's
presenting from Canva, and I'm a little new at this I think I have to be very careful. All right. So here I am, guest of Pandion Music Foundation. Very cool what they're doing. to help artists and musicians bringing this education to you all, and ways to think about your art, and just in new ways that are going to support you, because the industry's full of tough messages, I think. So why am I here? I'll give that. So yeah, as she mentioned, I worked at Ableton. I was a managing director. I founded the US office. I wrote the world's first book on Ableton Live back in 2003. I was a power user, fell in love with the product when it was barely working, and then was there for 8 years, helped shape the early part of the company. And then I was recruited to go to Isotope. I was the VP of sales and marketing there. Sort of similar story. It was about 20 people. When I left, it was about 180. So I kind of like those building phases of startups. I didn't know what a startup was when I joined. I just am a geek like you all. I'm sitting here, in fact, on my drum kit and my music production workstations over here, and so I'm deep into this stuff, and that's how I got into that. I ended up having a really successful career. We won a technical Emmy at Isotope, and I worked with a lot of brands and a lot of companies. I've been to, I don't know, 18, 19 NAMM shows, and maybe I've seen you there if you've been. So I've done all these things, right? It's like, oh, it's exciting. He's an author, successful executive, sold a lot of Ableton, a lot of Isotope. Master coach. I was trained as a master integral coach, professional drummer. And now I'm a songwriter for the last 3 or 4 years. I've been and a husband and father. And yet I still have doubt. I still have self-doubt every damn day. It keeps coming, man. I'm ready for this to stop, but it doesn't stop. So I wrote the book called Doubt Riding Shotgun, because the point is self-doubt is always there, but if he or she is riding shotgun, they're not driving the car. So we have to take a bit of responsibility for us driving the car. And are we listening to this passenger? And when are we listening to this passenger? So, all right. So I have this little demo here because I like to share. Here's some. I put in Ableton Live. Oh, I should share this. Anyway, in Ableton, I have these self-doubt voices. So we'll see if you can hear these. Oh, yeah. Get fancy. Here, original sound on. Okay, that's what I have to do. So then you can.
I doubt that's going to work.
Yeah, I have these self-doubt voices.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Remember, you're not that kind of person. What if they notice?
You're not good enough. What will other people think?
I doubt that's gonna work. Remember, you're not that kind
You?
of person.
You've never been that kind of person.
Right. Okay, so those are some of my self-doubt voices I recorded in Ableton to just kind of give you a flavor for what I experience. So I like to read some quotes from people that maybe you think would have no self-doubt. Tom Hanks. No matter what we've done, there comes a point where you think, how did I get here? When are they going to discover that I am, in fact, a fraud and take everything away from me? So maybe just show of hands here for a second. Let me make sure I have the right view on for you all. Zoom is always interesting in these. Okay, bam. So anybody have that imposter syndrome thing show up where you feel like, yeah, oh, okay, Janet, cool, yeah. Oh, okay, Tasha, yeah, nice. So it's like, imposter syndrome, you could put in the chat or something, like, what's that voice say? That maybe like, what's a saying that you might hear that voice recount to you or warn you about? And I'm going to keep moving, but just what I want you to do through this workshop, we're going to get to there in a second. We're going to talk about the goals here, but I want you to start to get to know your doubt voice. So confidence is the other side of self-doubt, and we sometimes think like fake it till you make it, right? Or, oh, now I'm confident, I can just do whatever. But that's not always possible for us. And it's also like sometimes the self-doubt voice is just screaming these things like, am I talented? Am I good enough? Like if I'm not ready or I'm not original or I don't know enough, I can't possibly then be confident. So we almost negate our own ability to be confident before we even have a chance, So am I worth it? Am I nuts? Is everyone nuts? So I like these voices to just remember. So I'm going to talk today about the big four doubts. I think we talked about that. The not good enough, option paralysis, perfectionism, and imposter syndrome. And we're going to talk about that a little more as we go. But I want to just give you the goals for today. So the goal here, it's a very humble goal, but I want to see if you can all improve your relationship with self-doubt. Now notice I'm not saying get rid of self-doubt. That's not what I think is too possible. In fact, I think self-doubt is there to protect us, and that's what we're going to uncover. So I'm hoping today you can learn one tool or a technique or a tactic. I'm going to give you a few, and maybe one of them will appeal to you that will enable you to move past your self-doubt in a new way. That's what I'm hoping for. So, and maybe, here's a bold goal, but maybe you'll even learn to love your self-doubt just a little bit more. Love your self-doubt. And it sounds weird, but the idea is that maybe self-doubt is just needing a little attention. And by understanding, kind of communicating with self-doubt, you're having a little bit more, I would say, holistic and integrated experience where you can actually listen to what self-doubt might be concerned about and decide if that's really valuable. In other words, decide if you listen to that passenger in the car. Okay. So because I think everyone here is a musician, let's talk a little bit about the special musician type of self-doubt that happens. Are some of these familiar? I've got these on two different screens. It's driving me crazy. One moment. Okay, there we go. So we think about like perfectionism, right? Studio musicians, right? I was a studio drummer for a long time, and it really got in the way of my songwriting. Because when I started writing songs, I had to like relax and go, oh, you know what? You need to get messy. In fact, and as a drummer, I'd get in the studio and they'd be like, all right, Dave, here we go. Tempo's 108, and you got to do like a laid back funk feel, and here we go, bam. And I just got to hit it like once or twice. That's it. I don't have all day. But when you're a songwriter, you need to kind of like, oh, these chords don't sound very good together, but there's something there I like. Oh, there's a melody there. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Well, I'm going to put it away for a week and I'll come back to it, right? So we can't be perfectionists. But then there's a part of us that perfectionism really helps, right? When you're really, okay, now it's time to finish that creation. So we have to know where we are in our journey, right? Does that resonate with anybody out there? Okay. Comparison. Oh boy, comparison doubt. Musicians, we're constantly comparing. Who's the opening act? Who's the headliner? Who's got more followers than who on pick your social platform? Who's got a top blah, 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 whatever single, And it's just a constant game of like feeling like we have to compare. And yet we talk about these healthy ideas that music is subjective. It's art. It's like, who can say what anybody thinks about or feel? Like only we truly know what music we truly like and respond to. And we can't say, but yet our brain loves a comparison. The human brain loves that, right? Fear of criticism, especially when we're first starting out or we're trying something new. You can be really afraid about what people might say. Those early, like I had the experience where I would show my song demo too early to people and they'd be like, oof, eesh. Then I'm like, oh, they don't get it. This isn't, and it took me a while to realize, like at first I'd be like, oh, okay, forget it. This must be a terrible song. Oh, and then I said, oh, this isn't ready enough for them to hear the vision, right? Yeah, Janet sharing, I remind myself that Bonnie Raitt won for a Grammy on a track where her voice cracked. Right. Yeah, creative vulnerability, right? Nice segue into that is, when we're vulnerable, we actually bring people closer to us. But however, being able to be vulnerable is really hard sometimes, right? We've all experienced like, oh, do I really share what's in my guts here, And then we talked about imposter syndrome already. So, oh, I don't deserve it. So even when we get successful or have some resonance in the market, we're like, oh, I'm not, people are not, I don't deserve this. There's better people. I mean, I often think like, there's Stevie Wonder. How does anyone go make music after Stevie Wonder did all of what Stevie Wonder did? But yet, there's a whole world to make music because people want more music, right? So musicians are very susceptible. That's my point here. So let's talk about where doubt comes from a little bit. By the way, I use Muppets in these presentations because my first musical influence was watching Kenny Rogers play the Gambler on the Muppet Show when I was like 8 or 9 years old. And that was like what lit me up about music for my whole career. And I didn't know it then, but I just couldn't believe someone could do all that storytelling and magic with a song. And so it was like, oh, I don't, you know. So Muppets are like my little, and it just feels like a thing we can all relate to, I hope. But if you don't like Muppets, I'm sorry for your pain. But yeah, moving on. All right, so where does self-doubt come from? So here's what's, I think, interesting. This is kind of getting to know your passenger in the car. So sometimes it's about experience, right? Like I don't have enough experience, or sometimes we have too much experience. Like some of the most doubtful, paranoid, scared people are sometimes the most evolved experts in their field because they know so much about like a recording engineer or a mastering engineer sometimes can be very doubtful that things sound good. I've hung out with some of them at Isotope. We sold mastering software, and you meet these mastering engineers, and they're the ones who have I got to check this mix in both of my cars, not just one. Oh, and I have these special speakers that I use that really make it sound like garbage, and if I can make it sound good in that, and they've thought of everything, and you're like, wow, what do you trust your ears? And this is an expert, and of course we know if we don't have experience, we can be very diminishing of ourselves and think, well, I have, when I started writing songs, I was a new songwriter, but yet I'd lived on the planet for 50 years. So maybe I had some interesting things to say, right? So sometimes ageism, right, can creep in there. We think, oh, I'm trying something new. Do I have anything of value? So skills, skill development can be an area if you're new to an instrument, new to singing, new to those sort of things. What is our beliefs around that? I'm sorry, Adam, I missed your comment. Not everyone has the capability to bridge those gaps. What do you want to pop in and clarify what you mean there? I think that's an interesting comment. Regarding unfinished songs. Yeah, right. Yeah, so you share with somebody and they don't know what you intended, right? So lacking self-worth and self-esteem. Number 3. This is I don't know how to number these, except they're just all important. So this is not prioritized in any way, but self-worth is a really important one. And it's kind of like self-esteem, self-worth. It's different than self-confidence. I think it's important to recognize it. And in my book, I talk about kind of diagnosing your own self-doubt a little bit, because self-worth, self-love, self-esteem, that's a whole different area of like, do you believe you're worth it? Do you really believe that in yourself on some level that, I don't have the skills, I don't have the experience, but I'm worth developing it and I'm worth going on that journey, where some people don't have that, and as a coach, I've worked with lots of people who have self-esteem challenges, or, they have fundamental beliefs around not feeling lovable or, worth it. So as a musician, we have to, I think a pivotal moment for me was just remembering and, kind of taking myself on a date and remembering, I have value in the world. If I write a song, it's valuable to me at least, and maybe other people will like it. And trying to help remember that. And that's kind of in the self-esteem world, not self-confidence, where self-confidence is like, okay, now I'm actually professing that I'm good at something, I'm developing a skill, I've got some experience, and that's kind of really hanging out more in that just objective, the world, not the interior as much. And then we talked about comparison already. So, all right. So I want to start getting your voices in here pretty quick here. But okay, I mentioned there's a positive side to self-doubt. Okay, I've been bagging on self-doubt for 5 minutes now, 10 minutes. So here's the way I like to think about it. Self-doubt is a little bit like the rumble strips on the freeway. So when you're driving, hopefully this doesn't happen to you very often, but once in a while when you're driving and you accidentally hit those bumps, it's like, it like wakes you up. Oh, okay. So self-doubt is kind of saying like, watch out, there's some loss over there, or watch out, there's some discomfort, or you're going to be embarrassed, or it's going to hurt. People are going to laugh at you. And so self-doubt is kind of trying to keep you on the road, keep us in our lane, right? Which that lane is whatever identity we've sort of defined for ourselves for our whole life. So that's a pretty interesting, you know, way to think about it, I think. And it's really helped me, and I think a lot of clients and readers of the book, to like start thinking that, you know, self-doubt is not out to get you. Self-doubt is not saying you're a jerk. You know, it's coming from us. It's coming from our own history and our own belief system. But it's saying, hey, watch out that you don't extend yourself to a point of pain. And yet now, if I say to you as artists, what's some of the most exciting music and art that you create and consume? Is it the stuff that makes you a little bit uncomfortable and feeling a little bit in a new place? Or is it the stuff that's very known and you just turn on the same old CD every day and you know exactly where every melody is going to be in every lyric? I'm curious, is there anyone here? I've never asked this question before, but I feel that I'm often looking for something new when I'm writing a song or performing, or and I see it, Christina talking about as an executive, as a business, right? As a marketer, as a VP of marketing, I was constantly trying to innovate, be new, do something new. Yeah, new stuff I didn't think I could do. Janet says, great, thank you. Yeah, so it's that thing of like I want something new, but new is always got some risk to it. So self-doubt is just having a field day. So Taylor Swift, regardless of what you think of her music, I'm a super fan of her and her way of doing things. I think she's pretty amazing. And I thought this woman can't possibly have self-doubt. Oh, I mean, she's rocking these auditoriums. My niece is like covered with, all Taylor Swift gear. And it's like everything, they just worship this lady. I've had a lot of self-doubt. A lot of people might look at someone in my position and think she's got it all, but it hasn't been easy. And by the way, I just cherry picked a few quotes. There are so many of these. Look at any favorite artist you have, and most of them have a moment of vulnerability at some point if they've had enough interviews to kind of say, boy, there were times I didn't think at all I was worth a thing, All right, so here we go. Now we're going to start getting you all involved. So we're going to turn off talking at you and get you sharing a little bit. So we're going to have the plan for today is going to have you find your doubt. I want you to name your doubt, and then we're going to work on taming your doubt. So that's where you get like a solution for how you might work with doubt differently after today. So to find your doubt, I have a really mean exercise. So I hope you're ready for my mean side. So I'm going to call on one of you randomly, and I'm going to ask you to tell us a story about an embarrassing thing that happened to you. Just, it's going to be an embarrassing thing, and I want you to just really share with us all exactly what happened. And, you have about 10 minutes to just go through the whole thing. And, and we're all going to just judge you. It's going to be really mean. So, okay, you got an idea in mind? I hope you all have some example. Okay. So obviously I'm not going to do this, but I want you to think about right now, capture, what did that self-doubt voice say? What were you concerned about as I was saying this? What thoughts did you have that you might say, ooh, boy, I don't know, that story's too weird for this group. Looking bad, beautiful, Janet. Yeah, I would look bad if I shared this embarrassing story. Yeah, right. Anyone else, please go ahead and if you want to open your mic, Stephen, or if you want to, please. I think it's helpful for people to hear it. We're sound people, so Anybody brave enough? You don't have to share the whole embarrassing story. Just share the doubt voice of what did doubt worry about? What was doubt concerned about? Driving. Sorry. Yeah. No. Don't crash your car, please. By all means. Okay. It's all right if no one wants to. Okay, Janet, do you want to just jump in? You can just unmute.
Oh yeah, I might need to unmute you, Janet. I can do that.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Here, I'll change it so anyone can unmute.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
has a happy ending, but I love to dance, and I was at a professional conference, Durango.
You don't, Janet. You don't have to tell us the story. All we want to
No,
hear is what
I'm
does your
going to tell you,
self-doubt.
like,
Okay.
I have to give a little context.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So it's a room of like 30 people, and I'm in the back, and the music is just so good. I'm totally full out dancing like against the wall, and
Mhm.
nobody looks like they're even noticing. I'm like, whatever. I was like, this is so good, I can't help but dance. And then I get to the bar afterwards, and the music supervisor comes up and she goes, "Were you dancing in the back of my room?" I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "Thank you so much. Oh my God, that like lightened the mood so much." I was like, "Oh,
Okay. And what was your
okay."
self-doubt concerned about?
Well, I didn't want her to think I was being disruptive, and I was like,
Yeah. Because if you were
and that
disruptive,
maybe
then
I
what?
like that maybe I blew my chances with her ever talking to me again. And it's like, and
I
she
see.
was like, "No,
Yeah.
here's
I
my
lost. Okay.
card."
So just so everyone can see, so Janet's self-doubt voice was worried about loss. Like, oh, if I made a fool of myself, this person wouldn't want to talk to me, or I'd lose the relationship or something. And now, just to play with that for a moment, Janet, is that likely? Like, let's say, would
At
this
a music
person?
conference? Yeah.
It is likely. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, it
And
depends who
you
it
might have.
is.
Yeah, it depends who it is. Would you have lost the like? What would you have really lost?
Well, it would have been somebody I didn't care to work with that much if they were going to judge me anyway. So
Nice.
really,
You're starting it good. So this is the thing. I like to say like we sometimes have to call doubt out on like what is the real consequence here you're warning me about, Mr.
yeah.
or Mrs. Doubt. Yeah. Good. Okay. Does someone else want to share? I think I saw that let's see here. Catching up on the chat. Yeah, someone
Well,
else share their doubt. Yeah, go ahead. Kristen?
yeah.
Yeah, I could. So it was with a company. So I had my first song gotten signed by a company, and I was really stoked. I thought, yeah, I got the song signed. And then after a few weeks, I had the first placement, and I was really stoked. I thought, yeah, finally, after
Yeah.
all those no's, a yes. And then they wanted a Christmas song. I'm not a
Oh,
Christmas girl. I'm not a Christmas girl, but I thought
uh-huh.
they want Christmas songs. They get original Christmas songs. They wrote
Yeah.
Christmas
Yeah.
song. And it
Uh-huh.
was so bad. Now I'm grown. I don't even want to sing it. I think the woman, she could feel my I don't. I thought I needed this Christmas song, but it was really bad. If I'm honest, it was bad. Now I laugh about it. And then I sent it to her because I had success and I sent it out. And she said, "Oh my God, it's terrible." And she was right. But now I'm afraid I have access to this person still. But now every time I have a song, normal song, a song from me, I'm
Yeah.
afraid to send it to her because what will she say? Maybe she says
Right.
again, she said
So what
again,
is yeah,
no.
so what's your
So this
self-doubt
this
voice? Yeah, what's
this
your
voice
self-doubt voice
telling
worried?
me
Mm-hmm.
what is she saying? My normally she liked my voice because she signed the song, it get a placement, it's good. But when I wasn't the real me on this Christmas thing, but that she said, "Oh my God, what is it?" She was right, but I
Mm-hmm.
think now every time when I will something sent to her, oh, what if she said again, the voice is not good or something like that?
Right,
That's the
right. Okay,
doubt.
so yeah, so the doubt is like, what if I send her something and she doesn't like my voice? She doesn't like my song, right? And then we have to say, so yeah, what would that be like? What would really happen? Is it really, what might you lose? What pain might happen, right? So just think about that for a moment. You don't have to answer. Just great. So anyone, so I just want to open it up. Let's say you're writing a new song or you're sharing a post on social media. What kinds of doubt voices do you all have? Can you all share, in the chat or pop in popcorn style and just kind of share what's a self-doubt voice that is common for you? What might they say or what might they be afraid of? Just imagine yourself
Basically,
sharing a
judgment.
song.
Yeah, like
Judgment.
what are
Okay.
they gonna think of it kind of thing? Like,
What are they going to think of it? Yeah. And so, what's that fear really about? What are they going to think about it?
fear of being seen.
Fear of being seen. And if they see you, then what happens?
Then they can like judge you or use it against you or like
Hmm.
wherever
Yeah.
that wants to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Lose income opportunity because my post is too political. Yeah. Right. Yeah. This is a common one these days, right? We're also divided. So it's like, boy, if I share what's in my heart, people are going to, you know, not, I might lose money, like, because, you know, so this is, as I mentioned, self doubt sometimes is right. Self doubt might have a point, and you might have to decide, like, is this the time to do that or not? And sometimes self doubt may be overly paranoid. Like, would you really, So this is the discussion that we have to learn to have. But what happens, I think, a lot of times is self doubt is a little bit like it's like a horror movie. It just shows you it just says something's really scary if you do this thing. And you don't even really investigate fully what self doubt's worried about. It's like, if you share this new song, people are going to judge it. It's going to be awful. Just don't do it. Don't do it. And it's like, okay, I'm just not ready to do it. But it's like, then if we go, wait a minute, what's really going to happen here? Can I just dialogue with this passenger? Can I just talk a little bit about, like, what's really afraid? So, yeah, but Tatiana, I hope I'm saying your name right. That's a really valid point, and it can happen, but it's also like, then maybe what's it worth too. So okay. So what I want you to do, hopefully, is there anyone else dying to share their self doubt voice that didn't get a chance? I want to make sure we. Okay. No, I'm not seeing any
I
nods
can
from people.
I can quickly
Oh,
share mine.
oh
Um,
yeah, Christina, go
and
ahead.
again, I'm not a
Business
creator. I have
people
such
have business.
respect.
You're creating a business, so that's okay. Yeah.
But I think that I was at the Grammys for 15 years, and before
Mm,
that in the entertainment
right.
industry. And I would say,
Yeah.
as someone who decided to create a business, my self-doubt voice is, and I'm looking at the group on the call, for me, it's someone who, as I describe myself, is north of 50
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
confronting ageism in the music
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
And how do you navigate that?
Right.
So
Right.
that's a self-doubt thing, which I do every
Yeah.
day. And I have recently learned to do it. I've started doing TM, Transcendental
Yeah.
Meditation,
Mm-hmm. Sure. Familiar.
yoga, Pilates, physical things
Mm-hmm.
to counter that self-doubt voice. So I just wanted to share that with the group.
Lovely. That's a great share, and really awesome that you share that. And one of the important things, and I was talking about this morning with a client about physical activity or getting in our body, is because we have this strategic mind up here that's scanning the future. We're trying to predict the future, really, and looking at the past, and is pretty sure that the past will repeat, and it never quite does in my experience. It's kind of always a little different, but so this strategic mind is scanning and worried, and it's looking forward, right? And those practices like yoga, meditation, and there's a million types of meditation, uh, dancing, listening to music, being present in any way. It stops the scanning. It gets us
Yeah.
into our body, And I've worked with a lot of tech executives in my life, and having been one, is that we call it like neck up culture. You get into a business, and everybody's just like, it feels like there's no body in the company. Like, everyone's just like, we're so worried. Oh, things are scary, and we got to do this, and we got to go move fast, and it's like, slow down. We need to, like, take a breath, put your hands on your chest for a minute. Just arrive, is already something, because that allows the animal paranoia, the fight, flight, freeze, to calm down, so we can actually sense what's really going on, right? So great remedy there, and that you're kind of skipping to the end already of, like, some things that can help and I have a lot of remedies in my book. And my book is cheap, by the way. I don't make it's like $5 or something. I don't make a lot of money on my book. I just want this information out there. But I do list a lot of remedies in the book, and talk about the ways to be more present. It's a huge mindfulness kind of gets over talked about and over discussed, and I don't think we talk a lot about why mindfulness is
I
important.
think it's hard to implement. And I just read something in New York
it is.
Magazine today about luck, people who consider themselves lucky versus
Sure.
people who do not. And
Mhm.
it's essentially a mindset. So that's all. I'm not going to talk the rest of
Yeah,
the time,
but
but
a
I super
mindset,
am
yeah.
appreciating this.
Yeah, no, it's great. And a mindset, though, you said it. I think I agree too quickly on like it's difficult. I would say it's practice. It's like all of us here. Does everyone here pretty much play an instrument of some kind? Does anybody? Maybe Christina, you may not play an instrument. Do you sing? Do you
I
sing?
dance.
You dance.
No,
Okay.
God, you
Right.
do not want that. No.
Right. So, but the point is, you can practice just about anything, including mindsets. Like you've heard people talk about gratitude practice, right? Like we have a holiday. Thanksgiving is dedicated, I mean, on some level to like make sure we spend a little time being thankful and arguing with our families. No, just kidding. But it's like can we be practice a mindset like being lucky, or practice a mindset of like I need to be in my body right now, right? So okay, that's great. So what I
Thank
want
you.
you to, yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing. So what I want you to do, this is now we're going to start moving quicker to get to the goodness. I want you to name your self-doubt voice, and I'd like you to find a couple adjectives. Like, what does your voice sound like? Is it nasally? Is it sad? Is it screechy? Is it, and I have a list here. I'll get back to my slides for a second. I'm just going to share my messy desktop here. I'll cover that. Okay. So here's some examples. Like, is your voice perfectionistic? Is it shaming? Is it unkind? Is it belittling? No fun? Cynical? These are all coming from like clients I've had and also my own work with my own self-doubt. Just find like 2 or 3. I put 5, but that's too many. 2 or 3 adjectives is plenty. Just to describe that voice. What does it sound like if you were to describe it to another person? Like if your friend said, "Hey, tell me what does your self-doubt voice sound like?" If it was like an animated character or something in a movie. Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk about naming your doubt. I want you to take those adjectives and I want you to create a little name. Now it could be a person's name like Paul or Mary, or you pick something more colorful, please. Or it could be something you make up, like a band name. So this is, by the way, my self-doubt voice, and I made this with AI, and it's Judgy McJudgeface. Okay. So Judgy McJudgeface was my self-doubt voice because for so many years I was very, snooty musician. Oh, this Miles Davis record's way better than that one, and all that crap. And I was like, okay, judgy. And so I would hear the judge show up, like as I was writing songs and I was working on music, or trying to do something creative in business. I mean, even when I was a VP of marketing at these companies, I was often trying, and I'd be like, the judge is like, oh, is that cool enough? Is that a good campaign? I'm 54. I totally get the age thing of like, you look at music and I watch, the Grammys, and I'm like, I don't know any of this music, but I know a lot about music, and it's kind of weird, right? So, just checking the chat here. My self-doubt voice is a deceptive liar. Nice. Yeah, so now, Adam, it's like, can you name that something like, well, here, I'll give you some examples here. We're going to jump to, so naming tips, by the way, really quick. Satan. Okay. Well, that is a hell of a voice there. Yeah, you've named it. But I think, here's what I'm going to say. My naming tips are to make this a little more fun. Okay, because I talked a bit, early on about remembering that self-doubt in a way is part of you. And I think if you name it Satan, now that may be the name that works for you, but it's also like, it's so, we can hate on our self-doubt. And I find that if we hate on it, it's really hard to get along with that passenger in the car, Yeah, maybe you can just dominate that passenger, just say, I'm not going to do anything you say. And, but sometimes self-doubt has a good point. You know, I often use the story like when I wrote my book, I hired 2 different editors to help me make sure it made sense. That's the self-doubt saying, maybe you need somebody to kind of look this over, you know. Sometimes we hire producers or mixers, engineers, or a mastering engineer, right, as musicians. Yeah, maybe I need somebody to take a look at something. You might need an expert, and that self-doubt is trying to help you. But then if the self-doubt says, no, 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 you've had this song remixed 7 times, it's still not good enough, you can't put it out, maybe self-doubt's a little crazy. It's getting so I like to say, make it fun, make it playful. As a coach, I like to do this inner work with a light heart, because we have to, like, if we're taking ourselves too seriously, it's like, I think it's just a lot harder, frankly. So I like alliteration if possible. It can make it a little more fun. I'm going to show you some examples. And I say make a photo or draw your own version of self-doubt. So, way too perfect, mean mocking Marcia. Way to go, Janet. You got our first name. Okay, way too perfect, mean mocking Marcia. All right, here's some real life examples from some of my clients and folks I've done workshops with before. So, roughly in order here. Just plain old nope. I like that one. Triple P. This is perfectionist, protector, peanut gallery. This guy had 3 self-doubt voices riding shotgun. Mr. Cynical von Smuggington. I think he was a British gentleman, that one. Dr. Krabby Crazy. Stay Small Sally. I love that one. Dr. Watson Worry. There's another Brit. Miss Prissy. Not quite there yet, Ned. Mr. Play It Small. Here's some more. Mrs. Doubtfire. Procrastination Patty. This guy I love. He drew his own. Debbie Downer Doubter, wearing a No Doubt t-shirt. No Fun Bureaucrat, and Beetlejuice. Somebody said, I had a lady who said, just going to say Beetlejuice. If I say it 3 times, maybe they'll go away. So, thank you, Jordan. So here's Billie Eilish saying, there was a period where I, in her long life, Billie Eilish, she must be 25 now or something. There was a period where I was doubting myself because I thought all my ideas were bad. And here you are thinking this. I thought the reason she was so successful is because she was super young when she started, and you just, at that age, at 17 or whatever, you think every idea is right? So I thought, and here I am now as I read more about Billie Eilish. Actually, she had a lot of self-doubt. She thought all her ideas were bad, and luckily she had her brother there to kind of, I think, coax and coach some of that with her, and she also overcame a lot of it. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Any other self-doubt names that you all had? You've been maybe working away. Anyone want to share, like Janet did, or Adam? Has Satan evolved into anything slightly more friendly, or is it just going to be Satan?
I'm happy to share.
Okay, sure.
I don't want to be argumentative because I have a history of that, but I guess what I want to talk about is a little kind of outside of the scope of this, which is within the past 6 months, maybe less, I've come to realize that not all my thoughts are my own, and I used to really take ownership over every thought that came into my mind.
Yeah.
And now one of the biggest things that I keep in mind all the time is spiritual warfare. And if that's not something you've ever heard before or thought about before, it probably sounds wild. But I
know I've heard about it.
When I say Satan, I really mean that the thoughts aren't my own, and that they creep in from outside. And the great thing about that is I don't beat myself up for it anymore. And I'm able to compartmentalize things. And I also just want to piggyback on what you said about practicing gratitude. I think that's incredibly important to do multiple times a day if you can. Right. So, Oh, and one last thing. I'm here because I really love your music. I saw you in the Sync Society, and I want to give a shout out to you because The first two briefs are calling for avant-garde, and I immediately thought of you. I'm like, Dave is he's gonna make perfect submissions for that. So I'm really looking forward to whatever you make. Well, it sounds so good. You're so great with. I mean, all I heard was like just amazing synthesizer stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Very nice. Yeah, I think that's interesting, and I think some people can compartmentalize better than others, and I think spiritual. We're not talking about the spiritual realm or the spiritual line of development here, but some people have more access to that, and that can be a great source of comfort and help. But it's like what I try to do in my work is try to bridge the gap between, can we make it simpler than that? Can we make it like you don't like you have a tremendous amount of faith, so that's a huge thing to get to, and we don't all get there like that. It can happen quickly, but it can happen not quickly at all, right? So the work I do is to try and say, and I totally agree, by the way, our thoughts are not our own, but we have decided to pick those thoughts up and carry them along with us for some reason, and some thoughts more than others, right? Some, like, we all hear different things and we say, oh, yeah, I agree with that. And if you agree with that, then that thought starts to become like your sidecar passenger, right? So you start to drive along. But great. Thanks for sharing that. I'm totally fine to let you hang out with that paradigm of the Satan thing, and if that works, that's awesome. Because really, it's the whole point is to make it work for you. So Ken, and thanks for the comments on my music too. Very, very sweet. Appreciate it. Ken, let's go ahead and share. Oh,
hey Dave, real quick question. I know we're limited on time. Hi, great presentation.
Yeah, we're okay.
Do you deal at all, or does your book deal with self-doubt in expectation wise? Not as far as like I'm not good enough. I'm talking about like I believe a lot in visualization and thinking about positive.
I do deal with that.
But there's so much self-doubt that comes, like I'll send some songs out to an artist. I said, there's no way they're going to reject this. Stay positive, stay positive. Then it gets rejected. And the self-doubt it kind of like snowballs on itself. And the next time, how do you stay positive and avoid that self-doubt? Not that you're going to have 100 hit records, but just, is there a connection between the visualization and the self-doubt and the actual outcome of things?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of visualization, and not in the woo-woo sense of like, just visualize it and it will all happen.
Right.
I don't believe in that. What I believe in is visualization is a way, just like we talked about gratitude practice, it's a way of priming the mind, okay? And so I have a practice in my book. It's called mentor bonding, that I picked up through some long study with some meditative folks. And the idea is that we create, and we do this already anyway, we create like a mentor or an image of some, like, let's say for you, a successful, are you a songwriter or a producer?
I'm a songwriter.
Sorry. So a successful songwriter. So there's an exercise about, like, basically imagine a successful songwriter who has qualities that you would like to own and to really truly embody. So, like for me, the first name comes up, Paul Simon. I just think of Paul Simon as like, to me, it's this masterful songwriter that I love. And for whatever, and you can all have your own, whoever, So, well, who would be one for you, Ken? Do you have like?
Well, the guy I was inspired by, I was inspired by a songwriter named Tony Romeo. He wrote for a lot of big acts back in the 60s and 70s. He had a record of the year. So he's my idol.
What's a quality? Okay, so I'm going to cut you off just for time, okay? Sure. I want to hear, but we've got to move. So what is a quality that Tony Romeo has that you think you would like?
Well, he's passed. I don't know all of his quality. I know somebody that knew him at the time. He wrote a lot of big hit songs back then. I would say,
it doesn't have to be a personal detail. It could be like, what's something you would like to emulate in your work?
To get 1/10 of his success. No, I would say he had a way of describing things in lyrics that I've never heard anybody ever do before. So I would say I didn't know about his determination and how driven he was, but I knew that he would use terms in songs I've never heard before that were just mind-boggling.
Okay. Great. So I want to use, so the exercise is something like I want to really have lyrics that just open up
Yeah.
and really, invite people in this incredible way. So then what we do in a visualization exercise is like imagine that Tony Romeo is his name
Tony
Tony
Romeo. Yeah.
Tony Romeo is sitting with you and just sitting in your room with you. Just imagine this person. And it could be anybody for any of you.
I
Like
would die. Okay.
it could be Yoda, it could be Jesus, it could be whoever
Okay.
find.
Yeah.
It could be a great writer. So for me, maybe Paul Simon just happens to come in my studio, and I do an exercise where I accept him being here, and that I have a little bit of a challenge back and forth where maybe I'm not worth having Paul Simon visit me. Like maybe Paul Simon's too busy and got much.
Mhm.
I'm not really a developed enough artist. But then the exercise is I practice hearing Paul Simon's acceptance. I hear like, so Tommy Romeo would be like, Ken, you've got this. You're totally on your path. You've been studying my work and you're practicing and you're totally there. And then
I
we
love
imagine
that.
at the end that I become a little bit of Tony Romeo. Okay, it's a mentor
Mhm.
bonding practice. Sometimes it's called like a
Okay.
guru yoga thing, but it's
Yeah.
really simple visualization. And all it is, I mean, you can go back to Freud and the thing, it's like it's acting as if. Because we do this if you're learning guitar, you might watch another guitarist and say, "Oh, I want to play guitar like them," right? So as we embody this work into our self, we start to actually become that. Because here's a question I like to say is, so when did you become a musician? When did you become a
Um,
songwriter, Ken? Was it the time you first wrote the first song, or was it the time you started writing a song, or was it after 20 songs? But our identity is made up. We make it up all the time. So it's like, when do you give yourself permission to call yourself whatever? And I think this is a huge block we have in as artists
mhm.
because we're often like, oh, I'm not ready for that stage, but I'm ready for this stage. Well, who
That's
says?
great. Yeah, that's
Why?
great. Yeah.
But we have to kind of like what? So our
Thank
thoughts,
you.
which
Thank
wherever
you
they
very
came
much.
from. Yeah, yeah,
Thank you,
absolutely.
Dave.
Michelle, I may not have. Okay, very unpopular here. I was brought up with the concept. Uh, just get over it. Yeah, and does that work? Does just get over it work for you?
I think just get over it works for a lot of people. I mean,
Does it?
I'm
Okay.
old, way older than you even, and I've been doing this as a professional for 45 years, right?
What's
I'm meant
this
that
as a
being a
profession?
professional music creator,
Music
music
creator, right? Uh huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
songwriter.
Cool.
So I've been
Yeah.
doing it for 45 years. I've had pretty reasonable success. I've
Okay.
also fallen
Cool.
on my face
Awesome.
back and
Yeah.
forth 100 times.
Yeah.
I find that people focus too much these days on mental health and self-doubt, and they need to get over it and move forward because that focus is part of what's holding them back.
Okay.
If I had had
That's
time in the last 45 years to think about all my mental health, I'd have never gotten anywhere, but people get stuck in it. And then
okay.
they don't
Yeah.
succeed. And then they blame the fact that they haven't excelled because of their mental health and their
Hmm.
self-doubt. So I'm only playing
Yeah.
devil's advocate to say maybe part of mentoring is not just exercises for people to dwell on their self-doubt and their mental health,
Hmm.
but to move through it faster
Yeah.
and get over
Yeah.
it. So I'm from New York City. I grew up there, and in New York
Yeah.
City in the 60s, no one told you to be happy. They told you to be successful and make
Right.
money. And
Hmm.
I think that
Yeah.
that might be a little bit of a positive. That's all I'm
Hmm.
saying.
Hmm.
Nope,
Okay.
everybody I work with is so psychotic. How did
Hmm.
everybody get so psychotic? So maybe you could tell us that. How did
How did
all,
I get so
no,
psychotic?
not you, how did
Yeah. Oh.
everyone, all the music creators get so
Yeah.
psychotic?
Well, yeah, and I think what I alluded to is because I think what in the first slide, I think the music industry and the entertainment industry, I think artists, we have to deal with a level of vulnerability and putting ourselves out there that most people do not. That like just the social media, let's just say, like it's kind of the common thing out there is put yourself online, put out videos of yourself, talk to your audience, share all the time. And not everybody likes to do that, right? And I don't think it's psychotic, by the way, to not want to do that. I'm Gen X, and like, I don't really like to do social media. But what I do is I know that's where people want to engage with music, and it's a much better way for me to reach people than trying to tour 50 states or whatever, right? So, so I think it's, yeah. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but I would say musicians, I think, are stretched to be more vulnerable than most. The biggest fear in life for a lot of people is like public speaking, right? Now imagine public singing. That's like, woo, that's a big one for people. And so for me, when I read books like You're a Badass or I look at Nike, Just Do It, I was like, it's not making it for me. I can't just do it. I can't just be a songwriter, flip a switch, like I am 50 years old. I've done a lot of things. I've worked with so many songwriters in my life that were amazing. Like my friends who are songwriters, I was intimidated to start. I was like, oh my god. So you could say, well, just get over it, but I couldn't. And so for me, my journey at least was I needed to like really figure out what this whole self-doubt story was about and where was it coming from, because I'm a pretty accomplished guy. I've done a lot of things. I lived in New York for 11 years. I loved it, and I loved thriving. But not everything is so available to just do it, I think, for most people, in my experience. But Michelle, it's great to have your opinion, and I'm fine with controversy. I love it. I think it makes us better. So I'm willing to stay on the line. I know it's 4 o'clock, so if people got to run, they've heard enough. That's cool. I do have some more things I can share about self-doubt tactics and ways to deal with it, but I think you all have gotten kind of the gist of what I'm about, and I'll leave it. Maybe I'll start with just questions, or just sort of say, and then I
Yeah,
can,
feel free to
you know,
just whatever you need to do
and
to
I'll
wrap.
share my slides after. By the way, hopefully I
That
should
would
have
be
said this.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
a place I can share them, so you can have the stuff we didn't get to, and whatnot. And if you like the book, great. I love it, and I think follow me. I'd love to hear your stories. I'm pretty available on like LinkedIn, and it's just Dave Hill Jr. on all the social media handles. So please reach out, and I love to hear and follow my other friends from Sync Society and whatnot too. And yeah, thanks, Ab. We're all in this journey together to keep pushing ourselves to put out art. Um, so open the floor to questions right now.
Awesome. I just dropped your website in there too, if
Okay,
anyone
cool.
wanting to check out more.
Yeah.
Yeah, any last questions from our thoughts?
I think if we have a little bit time, I could share one lesson or one exercise that helped me a lot.
Okay.
When I started to go all in, so I'm the money maker in the family. I have to work, night shifts, kids, all. And then I asked myself, can I do this music game too? And then I had to make a lesson. Your 5 whys. You write down why you want to do this. Then when you've done that, you do it again, 5 times. And then you dig deeper every time. And after the 5th time I was there, I am doing it for my daughter, because I want to show her that I can do what I love, making music. And to show her, you can totally do what you love in life and live. Not yet, but when you find something you love,
Yeah, when you have a purpose. Yeah.
you have a purpose, you make music for people, you make songs to make people feel better and everything, and you totally can do it. I'm not there yet, but I will get there, I believe.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But I think what's beautiful about that is you're sharing that connection to purpose. So I didn't get to this slide, but I like put my funny spin on it that, to me, the Cookie Monster has the clearest purpose ever. It's like Cookie Monster, it's all about eating cookies. That's all he cares about. He's not really, And so I say, one of the number one things I say to, here's my 3 remedies, and these are especially helpful to artists, is reconnecting with that purpose. Why are you doing it? Like, I loved your 5 why exercise. Simon Sinek has a great book, just ask why, or something like that. And it's just like, really being in touch with your why, and keep asking why until you get an answer you cannot argue with. Like, why is that important? Okay, now why is that important? And keep going. That's a great exercise. And I say, make a poster of it, or a bumper sticker, or put it somewhere visual that you write out. Maybe have a little vision board, and remember that every day as you're getting up, and remember it before you go to bed. Instead of doom scrolling, think about, what's my purpose here? Oh, okay, you know what? I don't need the phone right now. I'm going to bed because I got a big day tomorrow, because I got to go and write a hit song, or whatever I'm going to do. I'm going to write a song that really touches somebody's heart, you know. So whatever that might be. So I love it. That's a huge share, and one of the best things you can do in self-doubt. So any other shares or questions, things popping up you're sitting on, you want to get in the group with?
I was going to say, I'm
Sure.
sorry, I late. I'll have to watch the recording of it. But I was just going to say that it's interesting, but according to what I write and create, my purpose can change. So it's almost like an interactive trail. It's not static. It's not static.
No.
And
No.
and I think it's a question of how an artist develops himself. And I think that's always interesting, because everybody talks about branding and what you wear. And I've always been kind of a little bit turned off by, you go to these festivals and you walk in, and it's like you sense an era already, which can be a pro and a con. So you kind of wonder, but I mean, the festivals can be that way. But then you see the people that attend them year after year. It's almost like they stay in this time warp. And I'm like, I was always astonished by that, how people actually stay in a time warp, but they don't transition into what's going on now. So I find it extremely important to be up to date, and to hear new sounds, and be in the moment, be where life is happening, because that's where it's at, creatively.
Right. And we're all, different in that regard, but absolutely, I love what you said. It can evolve, right? Like why can't our life's purpose and journey and mission evolve as we learn more and have more experiences? Of course it can. Oh,
well,
I thought I was writing,
especially
at 8 years old, I would have written songs to get on the Muppet Show to be Kenny Rogers, and at 54, I write songs that maybe leave my sons with something,
Absolutely. And I
So
notice
it's different.
sometimes when you watch movies and stuff, you'll say, oh, you remember watching this movie, and it was such a great movie. Then you watch 10 years later, and it's like, hold it, what? I thought that was a
We
great
like
movie.
this crap?
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? It's all, you see things with different eyes. So, and especially somebody who has a long career, they've got to see that trajectory. I mean, people do not stay the same.
Absolutely.
They want to try, but not usually are the same.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. No, it's a great point. Tara, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Hey, Dave.
That's good. Yep.
Great. Thank you, Tara. Yeah. Jump on
Hey,
in,
Dave.
Wayne.
How you doing?
Yeah, Wayne.
How's
Hey,
it
good.
going?
How you doing? Yeah, good. Thanks.
I was listening to, been through a lot of that stuff, listening to what people are saying. I was listening to what Michelle was saying. I'm from New York. And, I find that the journey in music, when you're doing it, like you was talking about, is spiritual. And you said something that I'm gonna come back to that was real important. That was, your generation. All of us here in this room are musicians and creators. I write, I produce, arrange, do everything. And I've done a lot of records.
Right. Cool.
My thing is, what I find with musicians, I used to be a jazz fusion musician for years, for a long time.
Okay.
And you turn around and you say, well, I don't like this, I don't like that. I find that a lot of musicians involving and taking the time to learn and say, okay, let me look at what everybody's doing now. And that's part of being a musician, where you have to, learn to take the time and say, you know what? I'm going to spend a little time on this. I'm going to spend a little time on that to bring myself current to what's happening and what's going on. But I feel like older musicians, and I'm not accusing anybody in the room, I'm just saying, sometimes don't want to make that effort to adapt to what is going on now. And you find that, I mean, in rooms after room, wherever you go, I go to, I'm in different discussions with people in the
So
room.
is that
And
self-doubt really? Is it self-doubt? Do you think that they don't want to change, or is it
I
like
don't know if I don't know if I would call it self-doubt or if I would call it being settled on where you are and not wanting to move forward and say, okay, well, let me try this. If this is what the industry is doing now, not saying you have to be exactly with them, but when I'm writing, I'm always looking for something new and fresh. But like I said, for older musicians, even if it's example, I work in Logic, I work in Luna, I used to work in Pro Tools.
Right.
But you mentioned the program that you was working in. Some people will say, "Oh, I don't want to do that. It's too complicated." I wanna, but if the industry standard, which is Pro Tools, and that's what people want, and you have to learn it or you have to, work your way through that. I find that people are just, I guess the older
what I'm hearing,
musician,
Wayne,
you understand what I'm saying?
what I'm hearing, is, and I think here's my blanket statement is, in general, the human animal is resistant to change. I believe.
Exactly.
Now, I think we overcome those things for various reasons and decide, oh, I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to be more change oriented, let's say. But some people are very stuck in that, and they can be, and sometimes we don't even know we're stuck. There's a, well, I'm not going to.
But
I
that's
could
what,
go on,
what,
but
when you
I
have a
hear you.
room,
Yeah.
when you have a room like this, that's what makes it great, where people
Right.
could actually, I could vibe with anybody in the room and say, oh, well, this is the new thing that's happening. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. And you try to pull them in, but they have to be willing to receive that. And that's one of the things that I know in music.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, to add to
Beautiful.
that,
Thanks.
there's always that tech challenge. I mean, tech challenge does, I mean, it's significant for people that are older. I always say to myself, if I didn't have all the tech experience that I had previously in other jobs, there's absolutely no way I could compose and do all of this now. No way. I do it really seamlessly. I do it very quick. And I can't imagine somebody who, just doesn't have that kind of, under their belt. They're used to touring, they're used to, performing. And so they don't have the back end. And so now in today's world, it's like you have to have the back end and the front end, the face, and you have to have everything. So it's very challenging. A lot of people are just, they have to collaborate, or they're not able to do that. It's very demanding. It's very strenuous in certain
Yeah, and
ways.
different. This is,
And that's
it
where
gets into
anxiety could come from.
right.
Yeah.
I agree with
I'm
it, but you
sensing
have to
some.
be
Yeah.
willing to go there.
Good.
You have to
Yeah.
be willing to go there, to want it. You have to be willing.
Well,
Some people are
this is
not
where it
willing.
gets into like what is your, I mean, it would be a whole discussion on what is your purpose. So if your purpose is to make music that's modern and competitive and all that sort of thing, then that's true. But there are also people who say, I have a banjo on my knee and I want to just be really good at the banjo and I love it. And so I'm just drawing an extreme here, but like some people don't care about being modern. So you have to so it kind of becomes like, what is your path to growth? And if that's really important to you, Wayne, I get that for sure. That's like, then that is certainly an area that your collaborators, the people you are relating to, need to have that. But it's not always for everyone. As Tara is saying, like for some people, technology is great, and some people are like, I don't want any more technology. I got enough. Like let's,
Well,
like,
especially a musician, to be at the top of your game,
you have
you
to
got to
decide.
do that 3 to 6 hour practice. I mean, there's only so much time in a day, so you got to pick what you want to be really good at.
You
You
got to pick
can't be
what you're going
good
to
at
be good at, right?
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the
There's
way of the industry.
I'll share. By the way, there's a cool book called "This Is How It Sounds" by Susan Rogers. She was Prince's engineer during like the Purple Rain era, and she's an amazing person, PhD in psychology, and she's studying like neuroscience and music. What the book's really great about is it talks a little bit about like what do we care about, and how do you, like where are you on the spectrum of technology? Where are you on the spectrum of lyrics? What does groove mean to you? Like some people really care about groove, some people don't care so much about groove. And I have a hard time believing that as a drummer, but it's true. So, the point is, I think it's thinking a little bit almost like mixers on a fader, or sorry, faders on a mixer. Blah, blah. When you're like, how would you do your mix for like what's most important to you? And this is, I think, an important thing I'm going through now as I start thinking about sync music, because I mean, as you heard, my music's weird, and I tend to do, I like really esoteric stuff. I'm into Morricone and weird film music people and stuff. So for me, it's sometimes when I think of sync music and I hear really commercial pop sounding stuff, I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to spend my time doing. Now, just a reality, just me. So not to, but it's not, but I also have to be realistic. That may limit opportunities, right? And so if you're saying, hey, I want all the opportunities, like I do other things. I coach, I do some other things. I don't just do music. And for me, music, it's like I just would love to get some of my music placed in a film. That would just be cool for me.
Well, but that's a part of being authentic, right? Is authentically you, what what you're about. And if you got to watch the Black Box if you're looking for different music. But that's a good point. I mean, like Billie Eilish, for example, like the guy, the brother that does all. So he doesn't focus as much on the groove or the, it's more like he's focusing on supporting her vocals, half the time, the way he composes. So it's exactly that. It's like, where does it fit? It's like, the music together, the vocals, the music, how does it blend? It's just, again, it's authenticity is the most important. Is like, what are you really good at? What are you really good at? And focus on that, because you can't do everything. There's so many people that are better than you at other things. So why not collaborate or whatever?
But that's what community is about. Even when you have so many other people who are better, that's why you go in and you say, okay, well, I know I'm a great writer or so and so, but this guy's a great mixer, so maybe I'll pull him in and then you share. But a lot of times, just trying to, for us as community to make that initial leap, sometimes instead of moving forward, we just stay there and not. And like you say, where that self-doubt comes in, where you say, I don't know if I should even ask him, or I don't know if I should even ask her, so.
Yeah. Great. And I want to like start to respect everyone's time and Jordan's time here too. Just that I think this is great. And this work today we were doing, Tasha put a comment in here of like, sometimes shadow work is healing the pain to move forward, and I think some of the work we're doing here today, a little bit, at least what I was intending, is it is a little bit looking at shadow. We're looking at the dark stuff like self-doubt. It's not saying, okay, let's, just cast that aside and people just have to adapt. So the mission here today was to say, take a peek at that dark side, to just be aware of it and know where it sits in your life, even if it means I don't care about it. I don't care about that voice. Or like Adam shared, I see it. It's not my thought. Satan's visiting, whatever. I'm out. That's fine. But if you can just all take a look at what that voice is and see a little bit of that shadow that shadow to me is, my mind at least, in my development, is not bad. It's like just seeing this other side of us that is there, but maybe not always looked at, and we kind of avoid looking at. And to just say that maybe by just, being a little bit kinder to this voice, or kinder to that, this perspective that we might be, maybe it's not even our thought, right, or our self-doubt, it might be someone else's voice, that we can say, okay, maybe we have a different way of driving forward, So I hope this has been really good for you all, and I'm willing to, you can all reach out, get in touch, and I'll look to do more workshops. I've got some other stuff coming at some point. If you follow me, you'll find about it, and hit me up. I'm here on
We
the
also
journey with you all.
We'll be posting an Ask Me Anything on Facebook, our creator circle. So if anyone has any follow-up questions or thoughts or ideas or anything,
Ask me anything.
Yeah, yeah, anything at all.
My life's not that exciting, but we can try.
Yeah, well, thank you everybody so much. And thank you, Dave. This was like exactly the kind of thing we're looking for, more like conversational community. So thank you. That was really wonderful.
Absolutely. I'll share the slides with ideas, and I think we'll do it by email. Is that how it goes?
I can actually post the slides. If you want to send over email, I can put them on that Facebook Ask Me Anything chat so people can access it there. Yeah, and then next week, I just want to let everyone know we've got another workshop called it's Financial Resources for Creatives, led by someone from Mercer Advisors. So April's financial literacy month, so we're focusing a little bit on financial literacy for artists specifically. I know that's still a big challenge for a lot of people, myself as well, just how to balance everything in a music career and your life. So if you're interested in joining us there, I think I've got here, I'll just get the little link for everybody.
Cool.
But yeah, thank you again for everyone, and thank you for sharing as well. Anyone who shared today, just being vulnerable and coming on the chat, and chatting is really, really great for our community. So thank you so much.
All these comments. Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you all.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and thanks,
Great.
Pandion.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll hopefully
Yeah,
see you
so
soon.
much. Okay.
All
Great,
right.
everybody. Be in
Thanks.
touch.
Have a
Yeah,
good
take
day.
care. Yeah, good luck
Bye.
out there.